Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be looking at Hedera. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so I just want to talk about a couple of the options that we are looking for here on the higher time frame. So we are looking for two things that we could potentially be completed into this low here. And what we could be looking for is a bigger ABC pattern, 1-to-1 being here towards this 10 cent 80. Now invalidation of this comes by crossing the 0356, and what we'd want to see is a 5-wave move to the upside here. Alternatively, if we do see a move up towards this 20 cent region, then effectively what we could have here is a much more bullish counter developing here, in which case what we'd be looking for would be an additional 4th wave, potentially down towards this 1080 level, but not crossing this A wave high, and then looking for a 5th wave to the upside. Now if we do get something like this to the upside here, this would be indicating that we're going to see continuation after this point. We would expect some kind of a corrective move from here, and then that possibility of either a bigger C wave or a bigger 3rd wave from this. So this would be our bullish counter. This is what we want to happen if we are looking for that possibility that we have a low in place here at this 0356. Now we're going to go over the internals of this, and then we're going to come back out and discuss the potential of the bearish counter. Now we did come down here towards this 1-to-1, and now we have had a reaction to the upside. So what I'm looking for here is that this reaction to the upside can either be a bigger A, B, and a C pattern, in which case what I would be looking for here would be that potential that we could see price look to push up, in this being the A wave, this B wave completed, and then looking for this C wave to continue directly up here. So for the time being, within the lower degree count here, we have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I will continue to look at this in this way as long as we stay above this 5 cents. We can potentially wick this on the move to the downside, but I wouldn't want to see us cross this wave 1 high, just sitting here towards this 478. So need to be on the lookout for that. That's going to be our invalidation of this yellow 5th wave here. Now there is always the potential within this count that we could have something like this, where this becomes 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then we look for a much bigger push to the upside. We would only get confirmation of something like that by actually seeing price push directly up towards this 6 cents 20. So that would be our zone we're looking for if we're looking for that direct push to the upside in an extension. Though given the current structure, I would still be looking for this possibility of this 5th wave up here. Now if we do look at this in this way, what we'd be then saying is that this would become 1 2. We'd want to hold this lower support zone. This 477 is going to be our key level. We do not want to lose this. If we start to consolidate below this level, it becomes more probable we're going to hit this invalidation point at this 4 cents 56, and that would invalidate this idea of this actually looking to extend to the upside. Now it is technically possible that, you know, we could still see something like this as a bigger A, B, and a C pattern, but if we want to look for that bullish count, we need to stay above this 3 cents 99. Moving below that point would then effectively mean that this corrective structure is still moving to the downside, and becomes more likely then that we're actually going to look to break this 356. So going to be looking out for this. This is going to be our bullish line in the sand, in my opinion. At the moment, this is 0399. You know, potentially we could still find support above this if we break these lows, but I think that probabilities would be that we would actually set new lows here. Now if we're looking at this in this way, what we could potentially be looking for is just this is a bigger ABC pattern. So we have some upside targets here. This 0674 would be our 1-to-1. Now if we look at the white count the way that I've got it here, effectively this would mean that we would fall short of this 1618 target here, which would be this 0859. So this is the target we want to hit if we are looking for a 3rd wave, which would then mean that we could get an additional 4th wave and then a 5th wave, looking to target this higher area here of the 0998 to the 0910. So this is what we want for the bullish case. We want to see a move up into these ranges of this 1618, get a 3-wave move down, and then see 5 waves to the upside for this 5th wave. Now this would be what we want as the bullish case here, and we want to see a 3-wave move after that, and then that continuation up. The whole idea with this is we need to maintain these lows of this 399. If we lose these, then effectively this count becomes invalidated. So now there is also the potential here that like I said, we could see this expanding from this point here, or extending from this point rather, where this becomes 1 2 1 2 1 2, but we don't have enough information there. What we need to be careful of is the bullish case here. I'm going to come back onto the daily, and we're just going to discuss this. The What we need to be careful here of is the bearish case, and this would actually be looking for the possibility that we could still be looking to break down one more time. So in the bigger picture here, what this would be saying is that we're looking for this possibility of this fifth wave down. Now this fifth wave can potentially develop in a couple of ways. It can develop as just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a regular 5-wave move, or alternatively we could get something like this as a diagonal pattern to complete down here. This would be our common target area, this 0285 to this 0194, but what we don't have enough information here to say exactly if this is going to look to target this box, if this is the case. The problem that we have here is that if this is looking as a fifth wave, we do have the potential of 1212 here, because this wave 1 and this wave 3, if we want to count it in this way, haven't achieved that 1.618 relationship. So just being mindful that there is potential here that we could still look for continuation to the downside. So if we're going to look at that bearish scenario here, what we'd be saying is that we have this is a 1-2 up here. And ideally what we're looking for here is this zone of the 0293. Now this would be a 1.618 measurement of the wave 1. Now the problem is that we do have potential of this being a 5-wave move down here, but then we didn't reach this 1618. Now it is always possible this could just be 1, 2, 3, and then we form a 4th wave here, and then we look for this as a 5th wave to the downside. The problem is that this wave 1 here, we shouldn't really get any overlap, and we do have overlap with this wave over here. Now this would be viable still if we have this as 1, 2, 3 into here, and we get something like this as A, B, C, D, E, and we remain between this point here of this 0588 and this low here of this 0456. We form something like a triangle that still looks to complete below this wave 1, which would be this 0542. So if we do complete below this point and we form something like a triangle here, this would still align with the idea of having a 5-wave move. Now our target area, if that's the case, if that is a 4th wave being formed here and we stay within that range, effectively what we'd then be looking for is a 5-wave move, possibly down towards the 0364 to the 0314. But really, as long as we hold these two lows here, we do have that bullish count. This is going to be our important low within the shorter term count, this 0399. If we fail to hold this low, it becomes much more likely that we're going to see continuation down. So this would be looking at this in this way, that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. But there is also the potential here, this could be something far more bearish, where this could be 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is why we need to be careful here. We have come up already into this zone of this 0.618. We just missed out on it, to be fair. So it is possible we could still see another push up into this level. The key difference here within this count would be effectively what we'd be saying is that this is 1, 2, 1, 2. So if we do fail to break back above this high here of this 0779, and we do see price just come back up here in 3 waves, we need to be very cautious of that idea that we could still be looking to break down one more time here in a 5-wave move for a 3rd wave. Now confirmation would only be moving down towards this 1618, which would be this 2-cent area. But it is also possible, you know, technically that we could have this as a 3-wave move to the downside. It wouldn't really fit into this unless this is becoming some kind of a corrective move like this. But I mean, it is still technically possible. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on the idea that, you know, if we do move down, possibly we could still look to move towards this 1-to-1 here at this 0302. So if we do just get this corrective move down where this becomes A, B, and C, then potentially we could be looking at some kind of a bigger flat correction here. Or alternatively, if we do start to break down towards this 2-cent region, this would align with the idea of this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would then mean that what we would get here potentially is that our wave 3 would eventually be 2.618 of the length of this wave 1. So going to be on the lookout for this. If we fail to break this 0779, this is going to align with this continuation to the downside in this way. Now it is also possible that we could argue that this 3rd wave is still in play, and that effectively what we are going to get here is an extension within this 5th wave, where we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3 into here, 4, and then we're looking for this 5th wave to the downside. Now this is a lower confidence count. It is technically still viable. This is a wave 4, was still small enough that if this is 1, 2, this is a 3, 4, it is still within the time parameters. It just would have been very deep if this is the case. So what I would be looking out for here within this count, if we come down here onto the smaller time frame, what we can see is that At the moment, we have this move to the downside, and then we have a move to the upside. Now, the way that I'm looking at this within this count, for as long as we stay below this 0.590, which would be in validation of this idea of a break to the downside, what we could have, this could actually be one. We could have this as a flat correction here, and then we could be looking for a continuation to the downside. Now, if it is going to be a 5-wave move, what we'd be looking for would be this 1618 here at the 0377. However, if it is a corrective move, what we could see is price could do something like this: A, B, and C. And this could still be within our bigger corrective structure here. So if we maintain above this high, then potentially, if we maintain above this low, then potentially we can see continuation. If we start to break this zone, I would be looking out for this potential of hitting this lower region here of this 0377. If we do hit this zone, what I'd then be looking for would be something like this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which could look to push us down here into this 0364 to the 0345, which would be right here within this target box of where we typically look for a fifth wave if we are measuring it off of this wave here. So this would align with the count here. It wouldn't be very neat, and we'd have to be very careful because, like I said, it could just be that this is 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're looking to break down in a bigger way. So I would be very cautious of this. Or alternatively, what we could actually just have here is that this is wave 1, this is 2, we form A, B, and C for wave 3, then we'd form another 3-wave move, looking for that diagonal pattern. So gonna have to keep an eye on these structures. Like I said, bullish counts are still viable for as long as we remain above these lows here, and then we'll be looking for that possibility of that continuation. Starting to challenge these lows, however, would make it more likely we're going to start to see that continuation to the downside start to play out. Coming in here and looking at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that we do have these central lines which we have managed to push back above here. We are interacting with this S1 at this 520. Now upside targets for today would be this 534, this 541, and this level here of this 555. Now, price can always look to move through these levels, but these are potential pivot points within the market. So if we see interactions with some of these zones, possibly what we could then look for is either that continuation to the downside or looking to come back down and back test some of these levels. Now, if we do look to lose this level, we do have downside targets for today sitting towards this 0499. We have this 0492, 0478, and this 0471 as potential targets for today to the downside. So if we do start to push to the downside in this way, then potentially what we could see is that idea of that move starts to break down here, where this becomes a 1-2, and then we look to push down for that bigger third wave. Or alternatively, it could just be a simple A, B, and a C, and then we still look to hold these lows. So it's going to be important to see how we react around these levels. Now, switching these over onto the weekly, what we can see here is that on the weekly, we have very tightly spread lines here. So this is normally indicative of volatility. Now, if we do look at the upside targets that we have here, we have this 0548, we have this 0589, and we have this area here of this 0634. So this would align with that idea of potentially seeing an extension within this area here, where we see price start to push up in a bigger way. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this and see whether we continue to hold these lows. As long as we continue to set these higher lows here and higher highs, we can potentially look for that continuation to the upside here. If, however, we do start to look to break to the downside, what we do have as potential targets would be this 461, this 0418, and this 0376 as potential downside targets for this week. So that would align with that idea of the breakdown. Now, looking at the monthly, once again, we've got fairly tightly spread CPR lines here. We are still holding above these. For as long as we hold above these, we do have the potential that price could be gravitated towards the upside here, looking to target out at this 0598. We have this higher level here of this 0690 and this 0789 as potential targets to the upside. As well as that, if we do start to lose these central CPR lines and turn this area into resistance, what we could see is price could be gravitated to the downside. We have 0407. We have this lower level here of this 0308 and this lower one here of this 0217. So these would align with the idea of this coming back down here in a fifth wave. So going to be keeping an eye on this lower level here. If we do start to break down, it could coincide with some of those levels that we've been discussing as that potential break to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.